Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Monty G. It's time to review the latest sci-fi horror film. This one starring Ice Cube. It is the latest version of H.G. Wells' famous novel, War of the Worlds 2025. Yes.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Monty G. Now, War of the Worlds 2025 is a 2025 Screen Life science fiction thriller film that was directed by Rich Lee, was written by Kenneth A. Goldie and Mac Heyman, and based upon the novel of the same name by H.G. Wells. Now, the film stars Ice Cube, Eva Longoria, Clark Gregg, Henry Hunter Hall, Iman Benson. Now, in this film, a gargantuan invasion is coming with this fresh take on the legendary novel of the same name that is filled with present-day themes of technology, surveillance, and privacy. Now, horror fans, I'm sure that English writer Herbert George Wells, better known as H.G. Wells, when he wrote his 1898 novel, War of the Worlds, didn't know how popular this novel would become. I mean, he's written some very decent novels before, like The Invisible Man and this particular one. However, with this novel, it tells a story of how Martians decided to attack and invade the Earth, and it has been adapted into radio shows, films, and TV shows. Now, obviously, one of the most famous renditions or adaptations of War of the Worlds came in the famous 1938 CBS radio show War of the Worlds, narrated by Orson Welles, caused panic throughout the cities because listeners actually believed that this was real. This is a real invasion from Mars. And he had to get on the air and say, look, it was not real. I just read it from a novel. No one's invading Mars. But yeah, it did freak people out because they thought this was real. And because, Orson Welles narrate the story so well. Now, the first film adaptation was released back in 1953 that was directed by Brian Haskins and starred Gene Barry. Then Steven Spielberg directed another version in 2005, and that starred Tom Cruise. There's been, like I said, there's been some other adaptations and sequels and other rewrites of this particular film. There's been so many adaptations when it comes to H.G. Wells' famous novel. I believe there was an actual syndicated TV show. I believe it lasted for 3 years that I actually did enjoy. Told up a different story about the War of the Worlds, but the same premise was true. Actually, if I remember, it was supposed to be a continuation from the 53 film. So now, American music video director Richard Rich Lee brings us his feature film debut and the latest adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel, once again called War of the Worlds, but I added in 2025 because of the year. Now, for this version, we're introduced to Will Radford. He is a Department of Homeland Security officer who runs government surveillance program that monitors every person on Earth. Ooh, sneaky. While helping the FBI track down a mysterious hacker known as Disruptor, meteors began to descend down all over the planet, causing mass hysteria. Then, of course, large machines emerged from the meteors and start attacking humans, as well as his friend from NASA, trying to believe that this is a full-scale invasion. Oh no! So can Will use his position at DHS to protect his family and help the government stop this war of the worlds? That's what the film is all about. Now, I do have to give credit for Rich and his team for coming up with an interesting way to tell this version of H.G. Wells' novel. I mean, first of all, using screen life as a way to tell the story is sort of a different, nice visual storytelling, and also using modern technology such as social media, drones, smartphones, and hacking is a unique way of telling this story. I thought it was a nice idea. No, overall, when looking at this film, it's quite obvious that the message Rich and the writers, Kenneth A. Goldie and Mike Hyman, are saying that the government does have the technology available to spy on everyone. No one secret is safe. It goes into the particular, does the government have too much power? Is it true that NSA actually listens to every conversation on phones? The technology is there. Do they actually use it? Those cool minor questions might come up when watching this particular film. Now, while the setup for this film is unique and different, unfortunately, the film itself is dull, predictable, lifeless, and really doesn't add anything that we haven't seen before. I was very disappointed in this film. I mean, it was a good idea using screen life because it's a very nice way to tell a movie, but the execution for this one was sloppy, the acting was dull, and the CGI effects sucked. I mean, they were terrible. I'll discuss that later. Now, I don't have a problem with filmmakers use screen life because it can be effective if done correctly. I said before, it's a nice way to tell a story. Different way. I mean, when you use screen life, as we've seen in other films before, you can actually take advantage of all the modern technology. And if you're done right, you can actually create an effective film using screen life. I mean, we've seen several filmmakers that use this kind of visual storytelling to make decent horror thriller films, obviously, such as Unfriended, and then we have Missing and Searching. And of course, we also have the one not done right with the film that came out earlier this year called Blooped. Unfortunately, it seems that Rich has fallen with one of the many issues people have when seeing films like this. Is there's too much shaky cam going on? You got too much shaky cam. I mean, I understand that the people in music and running, but come on, guys, let's enough with the shaky cam. There's just too much. Another problem is that I don't know what Rich is because I know he is a music video director, but we don't get any type of tension and suspense, which is something that you need for a film like this. And he does not do a good job at all trying to create any type of tension and suspense. I mean, come on, you got aliens attacking the world. You have to be able to create some type of tension and suspense, and he does none of that here. Now, it could be that the reason for this is the dull and lackluster script that Kenneth and Mac have given us, as they don't give the cast anything good to work with here. It's just flat. It's dull. It's nothing. It's a nothing burger. Now, one of the problems I have is they do the typical cliche parents have grown children issues, as Will has problems with his daughter Faith and his son Dave. That's because instead of doing his job and trusts his children, he spends more time spying on them with the surveillance tool at his job, using drones to see where they're going and hacking their social media accounts, getting their passwords, telling them they shouldn't be doing this, and you can come work for me. And he's got issues with his daughter. He's got issues with his daughter's boyfriend. But none of that plays any well here. I mean, I guess we're supposed to care about them when the aliens attack, but both Dave and Faith are right in the middle of it, which is worth for Faith because she's pregnant. I believe she's about 6 to 8 months pregnant in this particular film. But unfortunately, since we really don't have any type of character development, we don't care what happens to them. We don't care what happens to Will or his children. We simply don't. There's one instance where she's trapped, she's injured, and Will has to at least do all the necessary things in modern technology to make sure she's safe. But at that one point in mind, I cared what was happening to her. I just didn't. Now, of course, we're supposed to be shocked. My God, when we find out who the disruptor really is, but it was so predictable, wasn't even funny. I guessed that, I think, about 15 minutes after the film began. Now, mini rant here. I don't even want to talk about the terrible CGI effects they used for the aliens, as it looked like this was filmed using small scale sets. There are films when they have drones flying into perspective of the drones, and it looks like it was some type of a little camera that they have, one of those small scale sets they used to do back in the 80s during the Star Wars when you have these small scale sets, and the aliens look like those fucking silly ass creatures from the TV adaptation from Stephen King's The Langoliers. How in the hell, in modern technology that you have right now, this is the best you could come up with, as bad as those creatures and the Langoliers were? These were about the second worst creatures I've ever seen. You can do much better. I don't know what the hell the budget that Rich had for this film, but you come up something better than this. Come on, guys, put some effort into it. I shouldn't have to be reminded of one of the worst looking creatures when I see a film like this. Many ran over. Now, of course, the reason why the aliens are attacking the planet isn't in the same as a novel, and I do believe Rich and his team are trying to do something different. I'm like, hey, they're trying to take advantage of modern technology, so it's obviously that the aliens here are trying to do something a little bit different, other than getting our resources. And I thought that was a clever idea. Would have been nice if the film was better. Now, I must give Ice Cube credit, and he really does try his best to do something with Will, but the script doesn't allow him to do anything with it. It's just run, 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 yell at the screen, yell at the screen, yell at the screen, yell at his daughter, yell at the daughter's boyfriend, yell at the other people right there. Almost get scared when he thought his son was dead. That's kind of what he does, but there's nothing added to it. There's no stakes into it. There's nothing to drive this character other than to look at the screen and be mad and angry, but there's no emotion to it at all. I mean, the same goes for Eva Longoria and the rest of the cast. They're just simply just going through the motions. And maybe they guess they had a friend of theirs that actually produced this film, and they said, "Okay, I guess I'll star in it. I hope they got paid some good money because this is terrible." Now, I've seen plenty of bad movies that are worse than this one, but this was just a very poor and awful attempt at trying to do something different with H.G. Wells' story. But the filmmakers here, I mean, they just failed poorly. I think, Rich, you think you need to stick to directing music videos because this one was a was a swing and a miss. You struck out. So I'm going to give War of the Worlds 2025 only one of the miser's five bloody gold coins. Yeah, this was a real piece of crap film. Terrible filmmaking, terrible effects. Those goddamn aliens going to get me started again. Oh boy, get me started again with those goddamn aliens looking like those goddamn creatures from the Langoliers. Very bad acting. Oh man, oof, boy, this is definitely going to be on my top five worst horror films of the year. So there you have it, horror fans. That is my video and review of War of the Worlds 2025. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps up with that YouTube algorithm. Have you seen War of the Worlds 2025? Do you think it's just as bad as I thought it was? Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell you thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember that horror rules. And I see you in the next video. Guys, stay safe out there.